ladies, we have a special guest with us today. We're so excited. My beautiful friend, and she amazing.
She is fly, y'all. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. You're fly as well, honey. Everybody's fly in their own right.
Come on, let's go. So Maia is one of our good girlfriends, and I want to say I've known you for maybe 10 years or more. And I love Maia. So when I think about Maia, I think about somebody who is about her business, strong, sassy, just really going after whatever life has for her. So I love that about Maia. And we had some feedback from our brunch, and we didn't do a good job talking about our singles.
That was one piece I feel like we really probably just should have really spent a little bit more time on. So let's
open it a little bit more.
Let's kind of move into that. That's really kind of what we're gonna start to talk about with you guys today. Is let's do it. Let's talk about our singles.
Let's jump in.
Okay, let's do this thing.
So Maia is one of our good girlfriends that is single, but living her best life. And so we want to talk a little bit about singles. And like, what can I be doing while I'm single? What am I doing to prepare myself to not be single? So we just want to kind of hear from you, Maia. If you'll tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. As Kristen said, we met at work. And one thing that I always admired about Kristen is that she was always on point. Always on point, even before she got into a leadership role. And, you know, I think especially when it comes to women of color, especially, lifting each other up, seeking one another out, and just being that sounding board and that opportunity, you know, just to connect and support one another is invaluable. So I wanted to start there. But when it comes to, you know, me and where I am, I work in marketing. And like so many women, you get this college degree and then you don't have practical experience and you have to fight to get into that space. So I spent a lot of time fighting to get where I am in marketing. But it was so worth it because you always get additional transferable skills along the way.
That's very true.
But I think my biggest thing about being single is not having to wear it as a badge. Just like I feel like as married women, you don't have to wear your marriage as a badge either, because I remember before you got married, it's like, oh God, the struggle is real. Right? And you go from having a roster of dudes to not feeling like being bothered. You know,
it's
so
up and down.
It's an up and down, you know, kind of situation. So I think for me, what I try to focus on is, of course, one day I want to have a life partner. To me, that's paramount. But if, you know, I want to be real with my other single ladies out here, whether you've never been married, you are a widow, or you're divorced, at any stage of your life, what's most important is focusing on your wholeness.
That's
right? Because it's not a badge. And I thank my mom for this because she had me at 35. And, you know, way back then, that was considered old. And so when I was coming up on 30, when I was coming up on 30, I'm 40 now. When I was coming up on
looking nothing like 40.
Yes, I mean, you know, when I was coming up on 30, I felt really like stressed because you had this plan. And the plan was not going the way I had anticipated, right? And so I was dating this guy where I invested way too much time, like years that I can't get back. But I learned a lot about myself. One, not to invest that many years in somebody who's not my husband. Right? And I think a lot of us
energy
have,
too,
and
right?
energy and you just roller coaster for no reason. Like if it was like all happy, then that's one thing, but it wasn't. So but I stayed because it was like, oh, this is my soulmate. No.
Hang on, let me touch on that. That's a good point because I was dating somebody at 26 or 27 and I stayed in an unhealthy situation because I was thinking like, oh my God, like, but I'm about to be 30. But if I don't keep this relationship going, like what's gonna happen when I'm gonna be single at 30? So I think there is a fear at 30.
Right, you know? It is. And I remember freaking out. And my dad, I'm a daddy's girl, so I knew it came from a space of love, but he was getting older, so he's thinking, oh, everything's about his grandbabies.
Yes.
And it was like making me upset.
And let's touch on that singles, because I do think that there's a lot of pressure from my parents that is unmarried. I mean, like, honestly, that starts to build up anxiety in us too, right? Because I wasn't married at 30 either, so.
Right, and so you're taught to do well in school, to get a career after school, whatever that is, whether you're a blue-collar worker, you know, you have a trade, or you go into a professional environment and work, right? And then everybody starts asking you, once you get a certain age, it's like, oh, when you gonna have a baby?
Absolutely.
And I think,
and that's funny that people will do that even when you're with somebody or not with somebody.
No, they don't care. They don't care.
Really doesn't even matter.
Because I'm 40 now, and now I guess I'm supposed to be the old hag, so it's like, oh,
Uterus is still working.
when are you gonna have a baby? You know, before it's too late.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So for me, my mother said something to me that was invaluable, which I want to share with other women. She said, you know, Maia, if you want to have a child, worry about having it in your lifetime, not mine.
Oh, wow.
And she also told my daddy to stop talking to me about kids.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a nice little truce.
That's
you know?
real.
And so that immediately like alleviated a lot of the stress.
Oh, yeah.
So just know that like we're not in a competition.
No.
You know,
And everything happens for
and
everybody at
everything
different
happens
times.
for everybody different times and different seasons. And I think even with all of those things, you gotta know who you are.
That's right.
And if you don't know who you are, if you're not happy with yourself, you're gonna attract the wrong dude anyway.
That's right.
Because there are, you know, people.
Yeah.
And that's really for men and women. There are people who prey on brokenness,
That's
right? And
that's
so if
big.
you are so desperate for a relationship or for companionship, you
Yes.
can't be by yourself, you're gonna fall victim to that person who wants to take advantage of
Let's
that.
pull on
I would say,
just
yeah.
for a little bit because girl, you're hitting on
She
something
hitting on a lot of good stuff.
really, really good. Because I know so many women, and I think I fell victim to this too. Like I was so desperate to
Oh,
be
yeah.
with somebody that I had painted a picture in my mind
What was
of what I was supposed to have,
Oh, yeah.
and I was with a certain person, and they never lived up to that, and it was so disappointing to me. You know, I
That's
was
real.
so let down all the time, and I'm like, you know, banging my head against the wall, wasting time, like you said, wasting
Yeah.
time trying to make something.
One of my
Be
girlfriends,
great, and it
she
wasn't.
used to say, "Don't waste your young," and I like that. I was
Don't
like,
waste
that's a good
your
point.
young.
Yeah,
Don't
I can
waste your
subscribe
I
to
like
that.
some young though. That's
And
good.
the thing about it
I
is,
do
even
too.
when you do, it's always okay to wake up and say, "Not today,
Not today.
not
Yeah.
today. I'm done with
It's
that."
never too late. That's a
It's
good
never,
point.
it's
yeah.
never too late.
Make a
You know,
decision,
people will
yeah.
say, "Oh, you know, this couple was married 30 years. Who want to be an old lady and single?" Well, she
Yeah.
was tired of that. She been tired. You know.
And let's just say this too, because women, I know we talked about this in our other videos that everything that you see glitter ain't gold.
That's
Just
real.
because somebody's been married for a long time, please don't assume that that's a happy marriage or that that's something that they should be doing.
Aspiring to.
Okay,
Yeah.
that you should be doing that. Sometimes there are some benefits to being single as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I get to lay in my bed on Saturday mornings if I want to and binge watch TV. So now I don't have to take nobody to soccer practice.
Right.
I don't have to be out there in the heat or the cold.
But like to Maia's point, I think what we're saying is while you are single,
Enjoy it.
that.
Enjoy your
And
life.
but here's the thing, the other part that I want to be clear on
That's
too,
right.
it's easier to say that because I do remember a time when I was single and I was reaching levels of success. I was, you know, a homeowner, all of these things. And I remember praying to God, like, God, I want to share this with someone. So it's easy to say enjoy your single, but also you have to like minister to yourself at times. Like you have to tell yourself on those days, because there's days when you're like, I'm not feeling this. Like I'm sick of this. But you have to talk back to yourself and remind yourself, like, it's going to be cool. And, like, when the right one comes, it's going to be good for me.
Right.
And that's the key, is the right one.
That's right.
Well,
You can't allow those times when you're feeling like that, you know, to allow you to get into something you shouldn't be in.
That's
Right, but it's also when you're being true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I have a nice little pillow that I tuck underneath me every
Come on
night.
now.
So
Okay,
on the
okay.
nights when I am sleeping
Okay.
alone,
Uh-uh.
I roll that pillow. I got my little spot,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You better talk about that pillow.
and it feels good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Maia.
not simulating a man. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I got to snuggle.
That's
You gotta
right.
snuggle.
I have a snuggle, and
That's
I'm okay
right.
with that because the reality of it is I didn't get to be 40 and not have ever been pregnant
Yeah.
and not be married by accident.
That's true.
Right? So it's not like I didn't have suitors
That's
who
true.
wanted to be married.
That's
you know,
right.
and then every once in a while, single ladies, you had that dude that's like, well, we can have a baby, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have your baby and be tied to you for the rest of my natural life. No, that's okay.
I know that's right.
That's okay. So it's okay to acknowledge those things and to get to a point, and it's a journey.
Yeah.
Per your book, it's
Thank
a
you.
journey
Thank you.
to get to that point where it's like I made these decisions for myself.
Mhm.
So at 40, do I want to freeze my eggs? I don't know. I feel like I don't think right now that's what I want to do.
Right.
Do I feel like, you know, I want to try in vitro? For those who want to do that, that's great. I don't know if that's something I want to do, because what I've
Right.
decided is once I meet that life partner or decide to be married to the person that I'm with, then we're going to try.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't happen, to stress my own self out,
That's
to feel
very
like a
true.
failure,
That's
or
right.
make myself feel, empty. I don't want those feelings.
That's very
Because
true.
when I take a step back, it's like self, I make this decision.
Yeah.
Because if I wanted a baby, I could have done that.
That's
But I
true.
chose not to.
That's right.
And with choices, I mean, there's gonna be a consequence or a reaction. So I don't want to put that stress on myself. I'm not gonna
That's
put that
very
pressure
real.
on myself. And so, some of those days y'all might see a baby, and I'm like, oh, that'd be nice. But then I get back to thinking like, you don't have to worry about
You don't.
letting the dog out when you get home. Like I can
Right.
literally leave work and do whatever it is I want to do.
Now I will tell you, those are benefits, and like even if I could go back to when I was single, if I could have appreciated that more, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we don't appreciate when we're in it, and then when you get to where you are, you're still grateful for where you are when you're married. Don't get me wrong,
100%.
but there's those times when it's like, darn, I wish had I have known. But that's the thing about faith too, is like you won't know until you get to it. So you gotta kind of be mature enough to kind of be in your space and say, you know what, like right now, I am going to enjoy my life right now. Like your mother said, like don't worry about trying to do stuff for other people. And I think there's something too, like going to high school and college with everybody. You're going with the same group of people. Like, okay, in 4 years, then you're going to go to college or whatever. So then I think what happens is after you graduate from college, if you went to college or not, everybody thinks that you're going to reach this next level at the same time too, because we went to college together, we graduated together. Now, okay, we're going to get married together and have kids. That doesn't work
And
like
it
that.
doesn't always, the timing doesn't work. That's a really big call out. The timing doesn't always work for
Oh
everybody.
yeah,
No, and everybody's maturity level.
that's
Exactly.
big.
Everybody's maturity level is different. And I think, and when we meet as single women, when we meet men, just being open to seeing where it goes. Like
Yeah,
you're
that's true.
You're gonna have to court me. You're gonna be my friend 1st, because when all the glitter and stuff starts to wear off, I need to like you.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is, you can date somebody and a representative can hang around for
Come
a real
on
long
now.
time.
Come on!
Get comfortable.
You better preach that
They
thing.
may even put the toothbrush in
The-
there.
Okay.
The representative can hang around for a really
That's
long
right.
time.
Mhm.
And
Don't
as
even
women,
know.
especially when you have professional careers,
Mhm.
you tend to be attracted to a certain type man.
Yeah.
Mm.
And a lot of times those certain type men know how to turn it on in the
Oh, yeah.
boardroom.
Oh, yeah.
But then when they get out on the street, you feel comfortable and you're like,
Oh,
here
yeah.
you go get pumped, right? But that dude, when he has all those things that draws you in, because of the environments that he's probably had to grow up in, he got that baggage, right?
That's true.
It's a lot of stuff to sort out,
Yeah.
right? And because that person is accustomed to putting on that armor every day,
Oh yeah.
to going into that corporate environment,
Oh,
it takes
yeah.
a while to peel back
Oh.
who that is.
But let's pull on that for a second,
Yeah.
because I think one of the things that I learned too is coming into my marriage, I was very much so like, you need to work on these things, you do. But what will ultimately happen is marriage is really about yourself. So one
It
of the
is.
things that I would say, even from a singles perspective, is start working on self now.
Mhm.
Don't even think of, if I might just give some advice, marriage is nothing about the other person.
It actually isn't. And that's probably one of the biggest things I remember Kristen and I
Mhm.
used to talk about this
Oh
a
my
very
God.
long time. Marriage was probably one of the most selfless things I probably had to learn how to do.
Absolutely.
And you do have to work on yourself. It actually is like holding a mirror up to yourself and looking at you and figuring out what you can work on.
Yeah.
So I keep going
That's
about
real.
what do you do, and maybe that's a good question, Maia. Tell us just a little bit about how you prepare yourself. How are you working on you right now?
How am I working on me? I think, I've been doing a lot of reflection. I think coming up to age 40, I started feeling like that same level of not necessarily anxiety. It was a little bit more of excitement because 40 felt like a big number.
Oh yeah.
But then it was like a little bit like, wait a minute, self, you still didn't accomplish the things you said you wanted to do by the time you were 30. So really just coming to terms with that. I think really how I prepare myself is by spoiling myself.
Oh yeah.
I take real good care
That's it.
of myself.
But you should.
Absolutely.
But and you should, whether you're married or whether you're single. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the other thing that we really have to get clear on is marriage may not be the ultimate goal for everybody,
That's it. That's it.
Exactly.
right? So you might be a single woman, and you might just say, I might want to have a life partner, but you live over there, and I live right here,
Yeah.
and be okay with that.
That's okay.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's fine.
The
Yeah.
world is changing, honey.
That's right.
Well, but the thing about it is, it really hasn't changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think we start to put in our minds, oh, I want this, this, and this, and it's got to look like this.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have to look like that, right?
And it usually never does.
Right, and so there's a part of me that has to be okay at 40, saying, well, not married. I'm open to it. I would love to have a lifetime partner, however that comes, right? But I have to be okay with if that doesn't ever happen.
That's right.
That's good.
That's right.
Right? So I'm not waiting for Mr.
That's
Romeo to
really
come.
good.
Everybody who come bopping around ain't the one.
That's
Right?
right.
Because we get
And
real
trust and believe,
confused.
she getting some booze coming out. Okay.
You know what? I'm not.
No,
I'm not
she's-
getting, I'm not.
Don't listen to Maia. I don't believe it. I don't
No.
believe it. It may not be her type.
No, I'm not getting any booze bopping around. And here's why. Because I don't want them.
That's true. I got you.
Because you go through different periods, right? Because you
Yeah.
have people trying to get at you, and it's like, you know what? I'm okay with where I am right now, and I'm not in the mood to get to know anybody right now, or be considerate about somebody else's feelings outside of whatever I'm already doing.
That's a very strong
Like,
point,
I'm okay.
Maia. That's a strong point. I think even being a single, and even when I was single, you have to be ready to sign up for a relationship because you're going to invest a lot. That's why we say go after self right now, because when you become engaged in a relationship, you really are giving a lot. Like
All the
Timber said
time.
earlier, it's a very selfless
It's work.
thing. Yeah, it's
very
a lot of work.
selfless
Yeah.
thing.
And there's
It's
good
work.
benefits from the work that you put into it. We just had a good conversation upstairs with my husband, and we just had a good time with that thing, okay? But there is real work that it takes to be in a relationship. So I do think that as a single, like for me, I was doing a lot of time, like I spent a lot of time in church. I was reading books. I was really
all
trying
of
to
that.
prepare myself. And I know, when we talked about, Maia is a reader, by the way.
That's awesome.
But, and you probably got some good books that the ladies can read. We won't
No,
put
see,
those
I
down.
read like
Game
Dragon
of
Vampires,
Thrones.
I mean, like
Yes.
I'm not reading.
Yeah, I know you like Game of
No,
Thrones,
I'm-
okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say too. I think one of the you actually brought up a great point about preparing yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear from you, Maia. Tell us how you go through your evaluation process, because I think that a lot of women, we talk about time and we talk about all those things, we should be wasting them. A lot of women actually miss a lot of signs.
Oh, yeah.
You know why a lot of women miss a lot of signs? Because they jump into situations too quickly.
Yeah.
Because
Come
every
on now.
man that you meet is not supposed to be in your bed.
Come
That's
on.
it.
Every man that you meet
Not in your bed.
is not to get your time. You know, and
Oh,
I,
can I just say one thing about that? Maia, you brought up a good one. Every man should not be in your bed, because I think sometimes, and I think Steve Harvey said this. He said he heard women say, "I'm so tired of dating." He said, but actually, you weren't dating.
You weren't.
You were just putting men in your bed, and you were just hanging. That wasn't dating. So
And
don't get
here's the
tired of
thing.
dating yet, because you
Here's
hadn't
the
started.
thing. If that's something that you desire as a woman, I think
Be real with it.
gosh, we call it maintenance.
Oh yeah,
You know what? Okay, but just be clear about that with yourself.
that's right.
If you're looking
Be
for something
clear.
different,
Yes.
now
That's
you don't
good.
need maintenance.
That's good.
And you are looking for somebody, then you can't treat everybody like they're
Come
maintenance.
on,
man.
sis.
I'm just saying.
oh,
Don't-
we can.
come on.
No, right, come on.
Everybody
That's
has a
true
maintenance
though.
man, though.
But you can't treat your maintenance time frame. Let's say
Yeah.
I mean, we all been there.
Let's be
But let's
real.
say you did a maintenance period for 2 years. Don't be frustrated with the next guy you meet and trying to put all these expectations on him.
Come on.
Like, oh my God, I'm ready to get married. Well, you put 2 years into maintenance.
Yeah.
Understand that.
But
And that's okay.
but
That's
here's-
okay.
But being real with ourselves, ladies.
Yeah.
A lot of times, women, because I see
Yes.
this in some of my girlfriends,
Yeah.
aren't even real enough with themselves
Come
about
on, that's
anything.
true. That's
So they
true.
don't even
Come on.
want to acknowledge that, Leroy really was the maintenance man.
Leroy.
Okay? He was a maintenance man.
That's right.
He wasn't your book.
That's right.
They don't even, they don't acknowledge it. Just because he took you out to eat a couple times and to the
Yeah.
movies,
Yeah.
or you might have met his mama.
Yeah.
You know how many,
Yeah.
meeting a mama is not a milestone.
That's
right?
right. My dad.
Yeah, right.
Everybody.
Yeah, like you come pick me up, hey, big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not anything special. So not to
Exactly.
confuse a situation for what it is, for what,
That's a good.
what it is, so you have to be true with yourself.
That's
But if
right.
you're not being honest with yourself about a whole myriad of things, you for sure are not going to have the right lens on to evaluate a potential partner.
Come on now.
Right? So when you meet somebody, get to know them. Spend that time. And, for me, it's interesting. Either guys who know that they shouldn't really approach, who's like, sir,
Yeah.
I got to say no thank you right now.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
with a smile so you don't put
But
my
have you
teeth out
not
my
gotten
mouth.
good at that? I had gotten good at it at one point. Like, actually, because see, Timber will tell you with me, I felt like, not that I led people on, but I didn't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
But I got to a point where I
as women, we also have to understand that that whole package that you had in your mind, the one may not look like
Good.
So you may miss out on a good one. Like I've had the super fine dudes, okay, and those come with headaches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whole lot.
Give me a nice, solid, handsome man.
Yes.
You know,
that's gonna take care of the kids when you have and change your life.
So now I'm going to
And
ask
take
another
care of you.
question. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to ask a question because I've heard women talk about all of their standards and criteria.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
You hit up a great point because things will not come in the same package. I am a living witness
That's real.
I never expected to have such a fantastic husband. I wasn't looking for it. I wouldn't consider him my type when I was younger, you know? But man, I tell you what, being able to give him that chance really it set it off.
Because you would have missed out.
I would have missed out.
You would have missed out because we were like, oh, he's not tall enough.
Yeah, he's not this, he's not that.
He's not this,
Exactly.
he's not that. And I'm not saying if you really like there's zero attraction, okay. But at the same time,
we're not saying
no, I'm not saying like go there.
And don't settle. I mean,
And then,
we
I'm
talk
not
about
talking about settling either. But I'm also saying that he look okay.
Yep.
Okay. But once you give him a chance and he starts to cater to you,
Girl,
make
don't
you
it
feel
turn into some
special.
fondness?
I mean, you wait a minute. You looking good today.
And I'm gonna tell you,
Looking right.
I don't care how fine a guy is, when they don't treat you right, they real ugly. I'm gonna be honest with that, and nothing cute about it.
Yes,
Nothing.
yes. All right, She E.Os. We just want to thank you, Maia. I mean, you have like helped out a lot of sisters today.
And it's been fun.
It has been fun.
Like
It has been fun. Because I was a little reluctant. Like, I don't know if I want to be on camera talking about this. But no,
Right.
it's been fun.
You're good.
She did great.
I think, She E.Os, if we can just leave you with a couple of things. The one thing I really heard from you is really knowing yourself. Knowing what's of value to you. And sometimes those things aren't always, he got to be fine. He got to be sometimes the things that are of value are things like honesty, trustworthiness, those types of things. That's really kind of what I took out of it, and being okay with your own timing.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, not to be redundant, but I agree. The one thing I can just say is be comfortable with just being with you. Because as a single woman, if you're still single today, you got to be real comfortable if you're always single for the rest of your life.
That's
and
right.
making sure that financially you're prepared for what that could potentially look like. Because a lot of times we bank on getting somebody who, has some money so they can take care of us, or, combining your income with somebody else to have a better life. But what if those things don't happen?
Right.
So if you build yourself in every way, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and having that strong circle of She E.Os, who you love and trust and have your back or whatever, and they're not out here trying to dim your light, they're going to make it brighter.
That's right.
Then when it's your time, if it's your time to have a companion, man or woman, partner, whatever that looks like for you, you're ready. You're ready to receive it. So that's the takeaway I would get.
That's good. And I think last for me, one of the things, we went off camera and had a good conversation too, by the way. It was really good.
Great.
But one of the things for me, and I've learned this in my journey of being single and married, is to constantly work on yourself. So be thinking about, instead of working on someone else, always be thinking about how can I be better for me, my family, how can I just continue to be a great person by myself? Because at the end of the day, when you do get married, it really is about self-work. It's a selfless role. It's about, constantly looking inward and trusting that God's going to work on your mate. So at the end of the day, I think we've had some really good conversation. Maia is such a beautiful lady. I just love her.
She is so much.
She's amazing.
Chairs full of beautiful ladies tonight.
But again, ladies, hopefully you guys enjoyed our conversation today. We're going to have more of this. We'll have to bring Maia back.
Yes, we'll bring her back. And until next time, guys, please continue to stay tuned, like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
We got really cool things coming up, so please stay tuned.
Yes.
All right.
See you later.